my name's Samantha. This is the Khaos Kismet podcast. I'm coming to you from Loughborough in the East Midlands, where I live with my 2 boys and my dog, who is there. She's kind of unconscious at the minute, but if you see movement, it's the dog. I am supposed to be recording every week. I have missed 2 weeks because I was sick, but this is a normally weekly podcast where I talk about all the crafty things that I've been up to. I, for the most part, crochet, knit. I also like to do some sewing, some quilting, a little bit of admin stuff. I'll just roll into this. I did have a separate floss tube. I've been trying out different things with my channel, and I used to show cross stitch on here, and then I stopped showing cross stitch on here and started showing it on a different channel and had a separate floss tube. However, I think I prefer it being all in one. I tried it for a few months and it was fine. It was fine, and I did enjoy it. I did enjoy having a separate channel, but I think I prefer it being all in one channel, and the people that I've spoken to also prefer it all to be in one channel. So we're now just going to have everything on here. It's a multi-crafting channel. It'll just be whatever I get up to. Because what was happening as well was some weeks I would be really feeling like stitching a lot, which meant that this channel didn't really have much on it. Or there would be some weeks where I would be doing a lot of crochet or a lot of like something else. Or I didn't have an awful lot of time, so my crafting time wasn't being split particularly evenly. So yeah, at least this way everybody just sees everything. You don't have to sit through like 2 hours of me waffling. Because that's the thing as well. I know a lot of people were watching this and then they were also watching the floss tubes. So you just get the same stuff because obviously I've done the same things. What I will not be carrying on is on my floss tube I have a wheel. And that had my current whips on it. And I would spin the wheel and decide what I was going to stitch for that day. And although that was kind of nice for touching a few different projects, and it took away me having to make a decision. So my hair's going really weird. I've decided to keep the blonde. I quite like the blonde. Sorry. What was I talking about? Yeah, although I quite like the wheel, it was getting a bit, I felt like I had to stitch on it every single day, and then trying to stitch on something every single day to have a reasonable amount of progress, as well as trying to get stuff done for this channel, as well as trying to get work stuff done because I run a small business. I'm in the process of overhauling my website, but I have a small business where I sell crochet, mostly crochet, project bags, a little bit of knitting. I have grandiose plans for the future, but at the moment it's mostly crochet accessories, things like shawls, scarves, hats, things like that. I do make amigurumi as well. I make quite a lot. It's going to be amigurumi soon, and I'm excited about that. But yeah, so we're all back together in the one thing. I'm not going to be spinning the wheel anymore from a cross stitch. What I'm going to try and do for a little bit is try and stay monogamous. And if I'm doing it as a section on this channel, rather than having its own floss tube where I'm spinning every day, I feel like I might actually get finishes, which is a big thing at the minute that I am craving. I've been looking at, give me a second. This is my To Do Unicorn book. And I have been keeping track in here, not with any great detailed notes, but I've been keeping track in here since August 2019 of all my whips and how many things I finish in the month, and then I'll roll that over, and at the end of the year I'll do a count. So last year, 2023, I made 153 things. 2024, I made 103 things. It's a big discrepancy, but also I had a lot of stuff going on last year. I was moving house. I had to spend a lot of time looking for a house. I had just so much stuff going on in my personal life. So that accounts for that, which is fair enough. However, between January 2024, let's see, January 2024, I made 6 things. This year it was 3. February, I made 6 things. This year it was 5. March was 8. This year was 3. April was 8. And so far this year we have 2. So I'm very, very, very far behind where I was last year, and last year was already behind the year before. So what I think is happening is I'm spreading myself a little bit too thin, and I would like to just get some things finished. I have got a lot of whips. I currently have 51 things. Yeah, because it's got 52, but I've finished 2, which takes it down to 50, but I have 1 thing that I've started that I haven't put on there yet. So I have 51 whips at the moment. That's across all my different crafts, and some of these are like very long-term whips that I know are going to take me a while. But they're still on there. They're still whips, and I would like to get that number down a lot. I think I'd said during my, in January I did this is my plans for the year. And I think during that I had said I wanted to get my whip count down a bit. So I'm going to try being a little more monogamous. I'm going to try actually getting things finished. There's a thing called Monogamous May, and I don't know if it's just in the stitching community. I've never really seen it in like the yarny community, but in the stitching community they do Monogamous May, where you pick a project and you just work on that project in May until it's finished. So I'm thinking I'm going to take the spirit of that and just work on some things until they're done, and actually try and get some finishes. Because I went on a bit of a mad one a few weeks ago, and I started like 3 different garments. I don't know what I was thinking. I started 3 different garments. I have shawls on the go. I keep finding, as I'm still unpacking stuff, because my ex keeps bringing stuff to the house, because, you know, clearly I have lots of room. So I keep unpacking stuff and moving things around, and I keep finding things, and yeah, I'm trying to like work through my stash as well. And I think that this is a better way to do it. So I'm going to try and have fewer projects on the go. Instead of feeling overwhelmed and trying to do little bits on everything, I'm going to have my cross stitch back on here, but just as a segment rather than a spinning the wheel every day. And we'll see how we're going with that, because why not? Right, we are now nearly 9 minutes in. If you're still here, thank you. I appreciate you. Right, I'm going to start actually showing you some stuff now. So the biggest thing that I've finished, not necessarily the most time consuming thing, but the physically biggest thing that I've finished is this. If you have been around before, you will maybe remember this quilt top. So this is made from, this is like strips. This is made from some Japanese style fabric. Like all the blocks are Japanese style fabric, and they came in these little strips. So I just sewed them all together in blocks of 4, put some navy sashing on it, and then I put it away, because my plan originally was to hand quilt this. In the spirit of me getting things finished and realising that hand quilting something this size, because it's not a small thing. It's not quite big enough to cover my bed, but it's great for on the sofa. So yeah, it's big, and to hand quilt this would take a really long time. So what I've done instead is, I'll show you this way. I got some fleece. I got some pink fleece with polar bears on it. I was in the market, where I live now in Loughborough, there's a market on every week, and they have like 3 or 4 days a week where it's just a normal market, and then once a month, one of those days changes into like a specialised market, so it'll be like an artisan market or a food market or whatever. So there's a woman on the market that she has a brick and mortar shop as well, but she sometimes comes to the market, and I bought this off her. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to back this with some fleece. It'll be nice and cosy for the sofa. I'm trying to fold this and it's just massive. I had done it before with my pink quilt that's over there. And yeah, they're much easier to have on the sofa. They're lighter weight than having the crochet blankets on because the weather's starting to get a bit warmer now, but they're still cosy enough because I like to have blankets for snuggling, not just for keeping warm. And yeah, so they're really good for that. They're warm when you need the warmth, but they're not overly hot. So I've put all the crochet blankets away, and we now have these ones. So that's my first finished object that I've got. The second, what will I show you now? I'll show you these ones. I had some socks, and I can't remember how far through the socks I was last time I saw you. I used this. I'm on my phone again, so everything's backwards. I'm really sorry. It's Yarn Smith Merino sock. This is colourway SK405. It is 75/25 merino nylon. It's really nice. It's lovely. It's soft. It's like this pinky kind of colour. I'm trying to get as much natural light in here as I can, and it's not going well because there's just no natural light in here. I had to buy new needles because normally I use Knit Pro Novas, and I've been using Knit Pro Novas for ages, but they're metal. Where are they? Yeah, here. So Knit Pro Novas. So they're metal needles, and as you can see, one of them is bent because apparently I'm slightly rough on my needles. I don't even have tight tension, that's the worst thing. But what happened is, because they're metal, one of the ends, as I was knitting with it, it felt a little bit rough, and I can't feel it with my fingers, but you know, like when you put the needle in and it sometimes hits against other metal, and it was making just like horrible grating noise. So I decided to get myself some new needles. So I bought these ones that I can't remember what they are. I think these are Knit Pro ones as well. Wooden ones. I've not tried using these yet, but I do like a wooden needle. My favourite needles to use are Knit Pro Symphonies. You know, the wooden ones. In fact, I've got some Symphonies. Are like those ones. I've got a whole set of those. Like normal sized ones, not the 9-inch circulars. 9-inch circulars are fine for some stuff, but I prefer knitting my socks on Magic Loop, which I bought some different needles that I have a pair of socks on, and they're down here somewhere. I've just got a pile of stuff here and I'm just going through it. Bag is one that I made myself. Still haven't put a drawstring in it. Oh dear. And the socks. I can't find my sock blockers either. But we have these. My little stitch marker as well. Obviously I haven't sewn my ends in because that would be ridiculous in my little stitch marker. And the stitch marker is made by Kelly Menzies, who wrote the pattern for the socks. And it's the Dusting of Frost Socks. Here's the lace work on it. Dusting of Frost Socks by Kelly Menzies at Roro and Cades. She's doing a cal. It's a year-long cal where every 2 months she picks one of her sock patterns, puts it on 50% sale, and as long as you finish a pair of those socks before the end of the 2 months, you get entered to win the prize. I won the January-February one, and I was super happy about it because it meant that I got yarn from Amanda at Little Life Hack. And these socks originally, I will get a picture and show you. These socks originally were made in Amanda's yarn. Here we go. So this is the colourway that I've got. I've got the main skein and the mini. And yeah, let's have a look actually. I don't know if they're still on sale. They should be. I've bought them already, so it's not telling me anything in particular. But yeah, you still have time up until the end of April. Yeah, up until the end of April, you can still enter with the Dusting of Frost socks. It's lace. It is lace. It's not super simple lace, but it's not that difficult. It's really not. If you fancy giving lace a go, then I would go for it, honestly, because look at that, look how pretty it is. And now we can like get the ends sewn in, and the lace is only on the front as well, not on the back, so you only actually have half your stitches to work the lace. I made short ones because, and they've got a slip stitch here, I made short ones because I wanted to use the rest of the yarn along with this because I want to make some colour work socks. So I'm hoping I'm going to have enough of this left, and that's going to be the main colour that I use. Haven't picked a pattern yet, but this is my main colour because this has been sitting there caked up for I don't even know how long. This is a Yarnworks yarn. I bought this to make something for somebody ages ago. So, and it's not the sort of colour that I would normally buy, but it's lovely, it's nice and soft. I can't remember the colourway because like I said, I don't have the thing. Normally I would pop the label inside there, but it's not there. So I don't know if it's come out somewhere. So yeah, I made short socks so that I could have enough yarn to make a pair of colourwork socks as well. And because I've decided that this year is going to be the year of me making not just vanilla socks. And it's going quite well so far. I'm not going to show you them because I can't get my feet up there, but I'm currently wearing my Stormseeker socks, which were the January-February Cal socks from Kelly, and they're lovely. They're really nice. They're comfortable. They've got like a little bit of cabley lacy thing going on. Right, I have one more finished object. Sorry, this is really waffly. I feel like I'm totally out of practice as well. I restarted this. I must have restarted this about 52 times. I had started the virus show. This was my desk project for a while, using Sardar Snuggly. And I used in cream, what is this? Biscuit, which is this colour. Oh, wrong way, that way. And this one, which is soft brown. And this is my virus show. I thought nice neutrals. It's quite big. This one is going to be going in the shop. It just needs a little bit of a block. Although the virus shawl isn't too bad. It tends to, it's a lacy shawl, but it doesn't need massively blocked. So this is the yarn, see the 3 different colours there. It's a virus shawl. There's not much to say about it. I have the pattern memorised. This is like my go-to shawl when I want to make something that isn't just completely plain, but that I don't have to actually think about. It's a really, really good way to use up different colours of yarn as well. I've made lots of these for myself. I've made lots of them for the shop. People always really like them. So yeah, it's that one. It's Sudder Snuggly. I've had a big box of it, and the cream that was in it is what is left of my Granny Heart shawl. I can't remember if that's what it's called or not. It'll be on my last episode. So the cream that was left off that, I thought, I'm just going to finish that. And then it wasn't quite big enough, so I added in a ball of the biscuit and then most of a ball of the soft brown, and then I put a little picot wedge in it. You see that little picot wedge, because there wasn't enough to do another round, so I just put a picot wedge in it. And I just did that with a 4.5, 5 mil hook. I can't remember. It would have been either a 4.5 or a 5 mil hook. Right, I think that's all of my finished things. So now I'm going to show you whips. We're 20 minutes in. This is actually going to be longer than I thought it would be. Sorry. The rest of the stuff's not very interesting though, like as in having to show you lots of stuff. My shawl, just a garter stitch shawl, my little stitch marker. That's where I was the last time. That's made by the lovely Jenny at Stitchcraft Gifts. And I don't know if I'd said before, this is actually woven in. I'm trying a new join called the clasped weft join, I think it's called. And had seen it on Ruth Loves to Knit. Another lovely podcast as well. Jenny and Ruth and Kelly all have podcasts. I'll link them all down below. And it's just a plain garter stitch. But yeah, I seen it on Ruth Loves to Knit, and she said if you do this kind of join, it's quite secure and you don't need to sew your ends in afterwards. So I thought I'll give that a go, but I've left the wee end just so I can sort of gauge whether or not it's going to come out or not. This shawl's just going to be for me. I'm using Wendy with wool and in the colour Foxglove. Ooh. There we go. And I don't have a thing for it in here. I'm just using up, this is Stylecraft Recreate. It's a recycled yarn. And I'm just using up whatever was left of that from my Morticia jumper that I made earlier on in the year. So I've used up that. I'll have a ball of that, and then I've got another sort of part ball of this that I'll stripe in, and then another one of these, and then I actually found another ball of this. So depending on how big it is, I've got 200 grams of these. The yardage on this is 298 meters or 326 yards. It's 25% wool. I can't remember the composition of this one, but it's like wool and I think it's like 40% wool. Don't quote me on that though. But depending on how big it is, after I've done all this, I might put the other ball of this on the end as well. And this is just going to be for me in the house, snuggling up in and wrapping up. It's just a garter stitch shawl with an I-cord edge. I might do a little tutorial on it, maybe. I think I'd mentioned about doing that before. Right, I've got lots of things that I have plans to do. Now I just need to stay well enough, long enough to do it. What else have we got? Oh, we have this, which still has the hook. Oh no, it doesn't still have, yeah it does. This is the Hobie cowl. And I'm quite annoyed with myself because I really wanted to keep up with this. There's barely anything on it since the last time you've seen it. See, it's all little puff stitches and stuff. It's going to be quite nice when it's done. I'll show you what we have so far. Part 3 came out on Thursday. And I think I'm on part 2 still. But that is what it's going to be like so far. So it's nothing crazy, it's like nothing too complicated. It's lots of little puff stitches. Oh, switch my tablet back off. Lots of little puff stitches and double crochets. Front post and back post double crochets. But yeah, it's quite nice. The yarn that I'm using is from Twink Knits. It's one of these, Twink Knits. And it is an 80/20 4-ply. These do not have, they have colours on the website, but they do not have colours on the ball band. And the grey that I'm using is just some more of the Yarn Smith Merino sock because it is lovely and soft. Like, I'm slightly concerned about how this is going to hold up as socks because it is soft. And I'm not known for my delicate nature. I had to throw a pair of socks out this week, but I've had them for years. So I'm on a mission to replace all my socks. Because there's another few of them that are starting to look a little bit... Anyway, so this stuff is softer than most commercial sock yarn because it's a merino rather than a wool. This one is a wool. No, this one's merino as well. Sorry. This one is not as soft as this. So if you're in the market for like garments and things like that, this is soft to wear next to skin. It's really nice. And it's very, very reasonably priced as well. So yeah, hopefully by next week I'll have caught up with that. What else have we got in here? I think that's it for that bag. I finished a panel on my September sweater. This is the yarn that I'm using, Hayfield Soft Twist. It's 90% acrylic and 10% merino. And this is how much I have left out of my second ball. It's like a kind of greyish heather black. I think, what colour is this? It's called charcoal. And it's not massively interesting to look at. Of course, because I'm using charcoal yarn, I decided to pick the dark hook. Omni hooks, excellent. I love my Omni hooks. I need to get some more of them. And this, I don't even think you're going to be able to see the stitch. Oh, you can kind of see the stitch there. It's, I think it's an extended half double crochet. So where the Care Bear is, that's where it was last time you seen it. So I've done all that, finished the panel, and the panel is massive. Because what we do with this is we fold it over like that, and we have another panel, and we sew the two panels together, leave a neck opening with a V-neck, make some sleeves, chuck them on. It's called the September sweater. It's by, I can't remember. I'll show you the picture because I'm sure everybody's very confused after my amazing explanation there. There we go. That's it, the September sweater. It is by Michelle Ferguson at the Make and Do Crew, Two Brothers Blankets. You can buy the pattern. It's $6 or £4.79. But I'm using the free version. Because honestly, it's not that complicated. And I know I've mentioned this lots of times, I understand people put time and effort into making patterns. I used to write a lot of patterns. I'm actually trying to get back into pattern writing again. It's a lot of time and it's a lot of effort. However, she has arisen. Hello. Am I disturbing you? There are certain patterns where I'll look at them and I'll think, you could have just made that a free pattern. But then saying that, if people want to buy the PDF, it gives them a way to support the artist. So I suppose she is, I'm sorry, I've dropped my thing. She is also given away a free option. But when people make, there are certain patterns, and I've seen quite a few people complaining about certain designers that make very, very, very basic stuff. They don't offer a free version and they just take your money. It's preying on people who are learning. It's preying on people who want to learn new skills, I think. I mean, something like that is fine because it's a free version, or you have the option to pay if you want. And the Make and Do Crew website and the Two Brothers Blankets websites are not the kind where you get totally spammed with ads constantly. So they're not too bad. So yeah, that's one panel done on that. And that's going to be my first, I think, apart from the thing I'm going to show you in a minute, which is going to be ongoing for the rest of the month. I think the September sweater is going to be my first monogamous. I'm just going to work on it until it's finished. Simply because this thing, this thing's the bane of my existence right now. If my son ever questions how much I love him, this is what we have at the moment. We're attached to several balls of yarn. What way around am I supposed to be? We have officially reached the halfway point. It's huge. And there's like so many colour changes. It's ridiculous. So it's worked from here across. This poor little stitch marker here is where it was last time you saw it. So I've done all of this. Big bulky. If you've not seen this before, or if you don't know what it is, there's a game called Geometry Dash that my 10-year-old is obsessed with. And it is literally just levels where you go through and you're like a little cube and you just try and, it's like a platform game from when we were kids. But the levels in it are called things like Demon and stuff like that. So this is one of the things from one of the high levels apparently. This is a blanket that he'd asked for his birthday. He obviously doesn't realise exactly how long it takes to do these things. So I designed the blanket for him, and then, yeah, I'm using April as a it's suddenly got really dark in here. I think it's going to rain. I'm almost done. I promise I'm almost done. I'm using this as a 30-day challenge. I don't know, have I spoken about this already? I don't know. If I have, I'm sorry. But on Instagram, I'm not posting every day because nobody needs to see this every single day. But I'm just doing a little thing in my highlights and just like posting up the bits of progress that I'm making. I've broken it down so that I was going to be doing 7 rows a day, and the rows take 15-20 minutes ish. So I thought, that's not too bad. 7 rows a day, you know, I'm not going to get much else done, but I'll be able to manage that. And then because I got sick, I got a little bit behind, so I've redone the maths, and now I need to do 10 rows a day. And what I'm going to do with the yarn that's left over is I'm just going to put a single crochet border all the way around. It's living in my basket with the dinosaur on it. The yarn that I'm using is all Stylecraft Special DK. I think this is the only one that's still got a label on it. So the background colour is Midnight, which is a really dark blue. And this is where we are with the red. This is Claret. So at the halfway point, this is the first ball of Claret. Jaffa. Jaffa is the thing that's making it look absolutely ridiculously neon bright. And Raspberry. So these are all still in the first ball. I think it's hard to tell with the blue because I'm using different balls. But I'm doing that. I'm using a 4mm hook for it. Yeah. It's a lot of counting. It's a lot of colour changes. So I've had to wait until I've got a bit of brain space back before I start doing it. But I want to have it done by the end of the month. It's currently the 15th. So we're exactly halfway through the month and I'm exactly halfway through the blanket. So hopefully we're on track. We will get it done by the end of the month. As long as at least the crochet panel, the main crochet panel is done by the end of the month, I will be happy with that, because then I can just work on using up the rest of the yarn on the border and I don't have to think about that. That can then become my mindless project and I can just pick that up and do a bit whenever I've got 5 minutes. Because right now, because I have all the yarn attached to it, I need to get the pattern out and I need to sit and count and pay attention to what I'm doing. Yeah, it's not just a pick up kind of project. But it's looking good, I think. I really like it. And he really likes it as well. He's been watching the progress and he's like, oh, that looks good, Mum. I'm going to back it in tartan fleece for him, because the back of it, I didn't show you, did I? This is the back. That's me just dropping my crochet hook. I'm just carrying the yarn because the colour changes come that frequently that using bobbins on it, I would have like a bajillion bobbins, and I'm just not doing that. So what we've gone for instead is we're just carrying the yarn, because it's also not worth like tying it off or anything like that as I'm going, for the same reason. There's just so many frequent colour changes, it's just crazy. So it's going to be extra thick and extra cozy in the middle, and yeah, it'll be fine, it'll be good. Right, I have 2 more things to show you, I think. First one, very, very briefly, my scrap blanket, which I have again decided to change my mind on what I'm doing. I had originally started off doing this. This was a corner to corner moss stitch blanket, but the edges started going squiffy because this was my I'm tired project, it was my desk project, it was, yeah. So just whenever I'm done with 4-ply wool or wool mix, goes in here. But the edges started going squiffy. So I thought, you know what, I don't want that anymore. So I decided to start doing this. This was the most recent iteration of it. And this is just half double crochets. Apart from, like, you can see the holes in there. I started off, I was going to do a granny stitch blanket, and then I decided I didn't want a granny stitch blanket. However, as I've been working on this, I've decided it's not big enough. I want it bigger than this. So those 2 have been sacked, and I have started with a different scrap. I don't even know what this is. It's just sock yarn. I remember the socks I made with it. They were crochet socks I made years ago, and I don't even know what happened to them. But this is the yarn that I've got left, and I've just started doing a solid granny square. And I thought, if I just do a solid granny square, I don't really need to think about that. It'll be fine. I'm using a 3mm hook. And I've just got so much. Got cakes. I've got cakes, I've got part balls in there ready to be made into cakes, but what I'm going to do, because I didn't want to rip any of that out, because these currently are attached, and I was crocheting off the original triangle one onto the half double crochet one. But what I think I'm going to do is just cut the yarn, and I'll maybe like rip it back to, I'll see how far I need to rip. Yeah, they've both got quite a few rows on them. I don't know, I might rip it back to the start of one yarn. I might just cut it where it is and just join it onto this one and carry on. It's getting really, really dark in here. It's absolutely going to rain now. Right. The last thing I'm going to show you is my cross stitch. So I have worked on other cross stitches since the last time that you've seen it, but I'm going to work on this one until it's finished. This is a printed cross stitch. You can see on the back. That's how much I've actually stitched. So like where all this blank space is up here, that's where I still need to stitch on the front. That's why the bottom's kind of cohesive and then the top's like weird colours. Because see the key down the side, the key corresponds to the colour of thread that you use, and then just use that thread, and it's like colouring in with thread. And yeah, I've just decided that I just want to get this one finished. I picked this one because, again, easy, brainless. I've not been feeling too well. I don't have to actually do any counting on this. Printed cross stitch, you literally just follow. See, they're all, you just fill in the colour. So you pick like this big blue section here is 21. You just find the blue there, 21. Tells you what thread to use, tells you the DMC number as well, in case you run out, but you're not going to run out. And then you just fill in all the blue with that thread. And you just keep doing that until the whole thing's finished. And then once you're done, you just put it in some warm water and just give it a wee rinse, and all the ink goes away. And you're just left with the picture. Yeah, so that's my current project, because I don't really want to be thinking about anything right now. And I've just dropped the needle off it. I'm going to have to find the needle. Oh my goodness. Right. Yeah, I have. I've actually dropped the needle. No. It's fine. I'm sure I'll come across it later on when I'm walking around. And I think that's everything. That is everything that I'm doing. Yeah, I've been trying to revamp the website this morning. My website's up for renewal, so I've been trying to get it moved over, but I've been trying to work on revamping it a bit as well, and I may have accidentally deleted my website. So yeah, that's a tomorrow problem now, because I can't, my brain is just deciding enough is enough for today. And yeah, that's definitely a tomorrow after coffee problem, because I might have to phone them up and sit on the phone for a while begging them to find my website for me. But it's cool. I've got time tomorrow because the kids aren't back until Friday, which is lovely. And apart from that, what else have we been up to? Not a lot. I watched The Penguin on Sky. That was actually really good. Batman's my favourite comic booky hero type thing, and so anything set in Gotham. Randomly, it turns out there's a village not too far from me, and it's written Gotham. It's actually pronounced Gotham or something, but it's Gotham. And apparently, because I've seen it on the side of a bus, and you know on the side of the bus how it's like got the two main places and it tells you the bits in between written up the side, and it said Gotham. I was like, oh look, So obviously I immediately had to Google it. And it turns out that it does actually have relation to Gotham City and Batman, because the people that were writing it or something had heard of the place because of some stuff that had happened there. And so they've based the idea of some of the characters on it, which I thought was well cool. But anyway, so Gotham, it's... Even if you're not into Batman, you could absolutely watch this. It doesn't have like the fantasy vibes that, because you know, normally Batman's the guy who dresses up as a bat and goes out and fights criminals who are criminally insane and have big elaborate blah 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 blah. This isn't like that at all. It's more like, if you're into mafia style stuff, it's more about that. And so yeah, I enjoyed it because I'm a fan of all of those things. It was good. It's not too graphically violent. There's nothing like, there's absolutely no like adulty parts in it at all. So I would be able to sit and watch it with the kids fine. I watched it myself because I wasn't sure how it would go, because the Batman universe can get a little dark sometimes. But yeah, I think the kids would be fine watching that, I think. What else have I been watching? I've been watching a lot of Studio Ghibli stuff, like a lot of Totoro, Kiki's Delivery Service, stuff like that. Just nice, chill. Been trying to watch some podcasts. Caught up mostly, I think. I need to start watching them on my phone and then like casting it to the telly, because when I'm watching them on the telly, I can't comment on anything, which is annoying, because I do like to leave comments, and then by the time I've got my phone and stuff and find the videos ready to make the comments, I've forgotten what I was going to say. So yeah, I need to start watching them on my phone so I can cast it to the TV and then comment at the time. But also I keep forgetting that I want to do that, and it's easier to whack it on the telly. What else have I been up to? Not a lot. I've been reading quite a bit. I'm still trying to get through The Lost Bookshop. I've put it to the side just now because it's just doing my head, and I'm about halfway through it. And I will finish it because I always finish books. But right now it's just... I've been reading more like cosy, brainless kind of novels. Apart from the 13th Paladin, I've listened to the first 4 books in the 13th Paladin series. 3 books. I can't remember if I finished the 4th one or if I'm just starting the 4th one. I don't know. Oh, do you know what I did listen to as well though? I listened to, oh God, what's it called? The Time Machine. H.G. Wells' The Time Machine. And I haven't read that book since I was little. And I was listening to it and I'm thinking, this is written in Victorian times. And there's a lot of stuff in it that's quite scarily accurate. And a lot of things, when they're talking about stuff that they want to have in the future or that they think might become a thing in the future, and some of it's like ridiculously silly, like seedless grapes and stuff like that. But I was like, you know what? H.G. Wells kind of... yeah, he kind of knew what was going on with some stuff. Oh, I just hope the rest of it doesn't come to light, because that wasn't nice. It was really good though. If you've never read The Time Machine, then I recommend it. I listened to it on audiobook while that was my school run listening to thing. Because when I go out and I like to listen to audiobooks, obviously I don't listen to them when I have the child with me, but after I've dropped him off, I'll stick my earbuds in and toddle up the road, or when I go out, I'm taking her for a walk. Yeah, she's unconscious again. She never even pricked her ears up at that. When I take her out, I like listening to my audiobooks. I think I did have one more thing to show you. I was going to show you my new needles. Talking about things I'm doing while I'm walking. I think I showed you this before. This is yarn that I got from Lidl. It's meant to be a 100-gram ball. I need to weigh it actually. And these are my other needles that I got, and I really like these, the unicorn ones. And I can't remember who makes them. It might be Addy. It might not. I might have just completely made that up. But they've got like the little pink cord on them. And these are just like plain vanilla toe-up socks. I had started doing them cuff down, but then this yarn it seems very, very thick to me, but I did a wrap test on it and it does still say that it's 4-ply. Those are not in the bottle. But these balls are meant to be 100 grams each. There's no way that's 100 grams. No way at all. So I have got 2 balls of it. But what I had decided to do was start doing them toe up and then just use up the entire ball of yarn, because I'm pretty sure that's only a 50-gram ball. And they'll be nice for inside my boots because they are just that little bit thicker. I've still done 64 stitches. We'll see how that goes. I might just end up with massive house socks. But either way, I don't know. It's nice to have a pair of vanilla socks just for walking around with, because sometimes, depending on what sort of day it is, and if I walk down to the school to get Alfie and then we're going to go somewhere afterwards, I'll leave the dog at home. And if I leave the dog at home, I will listen to my audiobook and I will knit as I'm walking, and then I'll knit outside the school while I'm waiting on him. Because the school's just down the road, so it's like walkable distance. But which is a good thing because I still don't have a car. It's an absolute nightmare, honestly. Thankfully, pretty much everything here is walking distance, which is nice. I think there may be somebody walking past outside because she's suddenly very awake. Hello. They've been digging up outside. There's a couple of like potholes in it. The path outside here is tarmac, and there's a couple of potholes in the tarmac. So they've been digging them up and fixing them today, and the dog is not impressed at all because it's right outside. The houses that I'm in, it's like Victorian terrace houses, so there's no garden on the front of them. So anything that goes on right outside the front door is literally right outside the front door. And she does not like loud noise because normally it's pretty quiet here, which is crazy because we've got students on either side. It's like house full. Like the houses are full of students. There's like 4 or 5 students in each house, but you never really hear them at all. You sometimes hear them like on that side. There's an alleyway between the 2 houses on the bottom, and that's where we take the bins down, and I'll sometimes hear them taking the bins down, or I'll sometimes hear them walking up there at night time. But it's literally just footsteps. They're like, everybody around here is so quiet and polite. It's crazy. I was like, oh my god, students, it's going to be a nightmare. There's going to be parties every weekend. But no. We had a little bit of partying at Halloween, but they knocked the door and said, we're going to have a few people around. Is that okay? We'll be done by like whatever time it was. I was like, yeah. Okay. But then I suppose they go away for Christmas and stuff, don't they? Like, they tend to go home for Christmas. And that's usually the peak party time. And it's the same in the summer. Summertime is peak party time, but they'll be between years and they'll have gone home or they'll have stopped studying. So I suppose it's not too bad being surrounded by students. Right. Oh, that's Mother's Day. Mother's Day in general was a complete bust for me. I did not have a good time. I spent most of it very upset and crying and stuff. It wasn't a good Mother's Day. However, one of my darling children got me this. So this is going to be a little project. And these are all quite small. They're like 80 by 80. So my plan is, they do have some bigger ones. My plan is to get a bunch of these, a bunch of the single ones, like Jigglypuff and Psyduck. I do like Psyduck. Slowpoke. And I'm going to put them all on one piece of fabric, rather than having lots of little ones. I find my favourite ones. I know this is like super exciting watching me flick through a book, I'm sorry. They don't all have actual pictures, but there are so many in here. I don't know if this, I'll show you, like, there's one with these two on it, Vulpix and Ninetales. They are like two of my favourite. Vulpix, Ninetales, Eevee are my favourite Pokemon, and Jigglypuff. I like Jigglypuff because she's just so mad all the time. It's hilarious. So yeah, that's going to be a project that I'm going to be planning out. I haven't touched it for a while, but my Head Heaven and Earth Design Stitch Along, I need to get back onto working on that again as well. And I think that is going to be my do a little bit everyday project once the blanket's finished. I've got an awful lot of things that I want to get done and not enough time to do it all. We need many more hours in the day. Yeah, I think that's everything though. I think that's me. I'm done. We're at an hour. I didn't think it would be that long, but here we are. If you're still here, thank you. If you could give me a wee comment, let me know what you're up to, and say hi if you have any questions. There's probably lots of things I've forgotten or missed thoughts. I'll be back next week. I will actually be back next week. And again, this was meant to go up on Monday, but because the kids aren't here, because they've been at their dad since Friday, I got my days mixed up because I have no concept of time. I got my days mixed up and I was meant to record yesterday and I didn't, so that's why it's not going up until today, which is Tuesday. Next week it will be Monday. Right. Next week the kids will be here. So I'm hoping I can get just like all the recording done in one sitting. I might have to do it at night time, or I might have to just, I don't know, send them upstairs with their switches and see if I can just get a little bit of peace next week, long enough to record. Or, you know, you could just listen to my kids walking in and out asking me inane questions. That is also an option. Right, I'm going to go. I will be back next week. I hope everybody has a wonderful week. I am going to be spending the rest of the time just chilling out, working on the blanket, seeing what's happened to my website, and trying to get a little bit of work done on some of these projects. So hopefully by next week I'll have some things to show you. Right, bye.